Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we got a new studio, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down one of the most powerful personal finance books that have probably ever been written, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Now, this is not your typical how-to investment guide. It is more about the ability and how we think about money, and the mindset shapes our financial success, even more than mathematics or the markets could ever. So if you've ever wondered why really smart people make dumb decisions when it comes to money, how you can avoid doing the exact same thing, stick around because I'm going to break down the 7 key lessons that I learned from this book that could completely change the way you see wealth, risk, and happiness. And hey, if you enjoy this kind of breakdown on my personal financial journey, I'm going to be sharing all of the books that I've enjoyed and read through the amount of time. So make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment if you've read this. And honestly, this is a book that needs to be taught probably at a high school level and given to every student to really understand the psychological aspect of money. So the first one we break out, no one is crazy about money. This is really the first big idea. Every single individual, you, me, whoever's watching, has their own idea and their own story about what money is. It is looking into the way you handle money, isn't based in logic. It is based on your experiences. If you come from a family that has struggled their whole life with money, chances are if you get money, you're going to spend it, or you could, on the opposite side, be incredibly frugal. If you grew up during a recession, a lot of people have an immense fear of the stock market, thinking there's going to be a downturn, thinking there's going to be a crash. If you saw your parents lose everything in debt, if they were overboard, you might value saving over investing for the long term. And what's risky or safe depends on your personal history. Now, me personally, I come from a family where I had a single mother, worked 2 jobs incredibly hard, and unfortunately, there was never any room for saving. There was never any room for investing. So, of course, the financial decisions were just kind of living paycheck to paycheck. And that is why my generation and me personally wanted to break that cycle in the entirety. So, takeaway from this, don't judge others on their financial decisions and don't model yours purely on someone else. Focus on what gives you the sense of life, purpose, goals, emotion, and also looking at the situation. If you look at keeping up with the Joneses, if you look at, all of the different things, you look around your neighborhood, you see new vehicles, you see larger houses, you never know exactly where they came from, what kind of personal financial situation they do have. So do not judge anyone. Money is very personal. There is no universal answer with how to manage it and exactly how to do it. Now, getting into our second point, luck and risk are real. They are twins. Now, Housel reminds us that success and failure are never 100% earned. Bill Gates became Bill Gates partially because he was brilliant, but also because he happened to attend one of the only schools that had a computer. Imagine that scenario if he would have attended a different school that didn't have a computer back in 1968. Chances are we wouldn't know Bill Gates as we do it today. Now, meanwhile, there are thousands of equally smart people that never had the chance, never had the opportunity. Luck and risk are two that are on the same side of the coin. Sometimes your best moves fail and really beyond your control. There's not a lot of logic. Sometimes bad decisions will be an absolute win because you got lucky with someone. So the takeaway about this, be humble about success and kind about failure. In money and in life, results don't always reflect your decisions. So again, thinking about this and thinking about having the ability, you have more power than we've ever had in history. When you look at YouTube, when you look at Snapchat, when you look at Instagram, when you look at TikTok, there are so many different places, so many different resources that you can get a financial education. Just make sure it's very, very qualified. But if you want to put in the time and the effort, even looking at books like we are now, you have access to everything on the internet if you want to spend the time and effort to do it and build a different financial future for yourself. You can absolutely do it. Now, number 3, never enough. This is one of the most dangerous emotions in finance is greed. Now, crazy enough, even when it comes to the financial landscape, they have a greed and fear calculator, which is kind of crazy. It is the feeling that no matter how much you have, it is never going to be enough. Now, of course, this is a story of people, and he talks about people who risked everything, reputation, their family, their fortune, chasing a couple more dollars when they could have been completely happy themselves. So here's the truth, guys. The hardest financial skill is to stop when you're ahead. This is why when we start looking at things like get rich quick schemes, people really fall for them, and they do a lot of times. We see it with scams, we see it with fraud, we see it with a ton of people. So you really have to draw a line in the sand and know what is enough and what does enough look to you, because how much risk are you willing to put out there? You could ever be chasing that dollar, chasing that goalpost, Never feel like you're satisfied at all, regardless if you have $1 million, 5 million, 10 million, even $1 billion, still looking to make more. It's more about making an impact and knowing exactly what you're looking for than chasing that dollar. So the takeaway with this one, wealth isn't just about making more, it's about knowing when to stop chasing the money. Now, number 4, we get into compounding. It is the eighth wonder of the world. We have talked about compounding. It is one simple but very, very powerful tool. Good investment is about time, not about timing. Morgan Housel talks about this. Warren Buffett talks about this. It's not about timing the market. It is about time in the market. When we start looking at Buffett himself, he made over 80% of his wealth. Think about that from a billionaire's perspective. Over 80% of his wealth came after his 60th birthday. Not because he read a lot more books, not because he suddenly became a lot smarter, a lot better investor. It is because he had decades of compounding that was working for him. The problem is most people give up too soon. They want the instant gratification. They want the very quick results, which when it comes to investing, if you're getting that, 10, 15, 20% return, which is kind of crazy, and I know S&P 500 is roughly 10%, consistency will beat brilliance. That is the reason why when we start looking at financial advisors, a majority of them, even when you go out 20, 30 years, almost 99% of them cannot beat the market itself over an extended amount of time. It's about staying invested, staying patient, and let time do the heavy lifting. Now, number 5, getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. This is a mindset to make money. And really, if you can generate money, it is the mindset and the other side of it about keeping the money. To get wealthy, you need optimism, you need boldness, you need to take some risk to start investing. To stay wealthy, you need humility, paranoia, and healthy fear of loss. This is the reason why when we build out our portfolios, when you start thinking of having a majority of that in the S&P 500 into something that is more of a foundational ETF, something that is a little less risky if you're looking 40, 50, 60, 70% into something like that, than having a couple satellites out there that have a lot more risk. It is about creating in that wealth generation, but also protecting exactly what you have. As Housel puts it, getting money requires taking risk. Keeping money requires avoiding risk in its entirety. So the takeaway on this one, guys, protecting your wealth as fiercely as you built it. Do not let your overconfidence erase years of progress. And I have seen this actually recently with a lot of people that do trade and invest on margin that got burned because the market pulls back quite a bit. They are too far leveraged or too far margin. All of a sudden they're liquidated and they have some issues. Now, number 6, freedom is the ultimate dividend of wealth. Why do we chase money in the first place? When you think about it, again, psychologically, the basis, it's not about the fancy cars. It's not about the watches we have. It is about control over our time and also having the freedom to make the decision that you want. The greatest wealth is being able to wake up and decide whatever you want to do today. You don't have to wait till you're 67, 70, 75 years old and retired to actually make the decision if you are living a debt-free journey, if you get to the point that actually controlling your money versus letting it control you, being stuck really to that 9-to-5 job. Takeaway for this, build your finances around freedom, not status. Smaller income with total control makes a big difference than a big salary that has no life balance, that's working every day, or even working on that 9-to-5. When we start looking at a majority of Americans in the United States, millionaire status comes from teachers more than anyone. So it is not the people making 150, 250, $500,000 a year. It is the people who are consistently putting money in the market and letting that compounding do its thing. And the final lesson that I'm gonna leave you with, money is a tool, it is not a scoreboard. Last lesson, probably the most important, and if you can take this one to heart, money isn't about keeping up with other people. It is not about beating other people. It is about having the ability to live your life on your terms in your entirety. I started this probably about 15 years ago. When you stop comparing your financial life to other people, you automatically, and again, psychologically, start making better choices for your own financial freedom, which is huge. You use money to buy peace of mind, not the bragging rights. True wealth is generated in having the ability to sleep well at night. And that, guys, is the psychology of money really in a nutshell. 7 timeless lessons in this book. And if you haven't picked up a copy, I'm going to put a link down below so you can grab one. Personal finance is more about behaviors than it is about knowledge. If you got value from this breakdown, definitely hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe for more financial education content. I'm going to be sharing books about every 2 weeks as I finish them. And I do the paperback, guys. I actually do the actual physical books. Here's the Psychology of Money. As you can see, We have a bookshelf that is right on this side. The bookshelf's right over here. So we're going to put this book because it is completed in its entirety. And I'll leave you with this one, guys. The goal isn't to be rich. It is about to be financially free in your life itself. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.